Lambo Sports Sports featuring the Big Brother Fitch inside Sports Network. All right. NFL preview, week 6 picks. All right. Everything is week 6. Everything is necessary. Everything is fun. Everything is competition. First game, those Commanders versus Atlanta Falcons. Now, the Atlanta Falcons are surprisingly with a winning record in 3-2. They were one of the teams on a hot seat, especially, Arthur Smith. He kept his job for now. The Commanders, we expected the Commanders to beat the Bears, and they got blown out. Now, I may have been on the verge to go to that game, but I'm glad I didn't because that would have been a waste of my time. But the Commanders, Sam Howell, with the turnovers, the offense has been completely down slope. But we understand it's Eric Bieniemy's first year, so we don't expect him to get the offense correct after 5 weeks. That's just never gonna happen. Um, Desmond Ritter has not played up to expectations, but they somehow beat the Texans last week, and we're both wrong. I mean, the last second field goals, they did it with the Packers, they did it with last week. Now, this was hard pick. I went with the Commanders this one. I'm gonna go with the Commanders. I think they will be better. It's a road game, but it's in a dome. So I think whatever conditions they went through, their own home turf or whatever happened before and why they couldn't win. They had a close game with the Eagles 2 weeks ago. I think the offense will be back. The defense showed some concerns, but if Sam Howell will please stop throwing 4 interceptions a game, Jesus Christ. I mean, can he stop with the turnovers? Now, I know he didn't turn the ball over, against the Bills when he threw the 4 interceptions. You can't have that type of game. But he had a great game against the Eagles. Now, I need you to have the games you had against the Eagles. A great game. You march down the field, keep your leadership up. I'm going to take the Commanders to win this game. I'm confident in the offense. Defensively, Jack Del Rio's an old defensive coach, and they're really old school scheme-wise, and it's not going to work. They're going to have to win based off offense and maybe go for it aggressively on fourth down.
Yeah, well, see, the issue with them winning it on offense is the Falcons have the 7th overall defense and they're 10th in points allowed. So it's not just a walk in the park to score on these guys. Ritter had the best game of his life last week. But all in all, like the defense is still pretty mediocre. They're like 20th in overall offense. But you go to the other side of the ball, and it's not much different. The Commanders are 18th in overall offense, and their defense is polar opposite. They're 25th in overall defense and 31st in points allowed. So, it's two offenses that are pretty average, and that's saying it nicely, I think. The difference for me is which average to below average offense is going against a harder defense, and that would be the Commanders going against a much more difficult defense in the Falcons. So I'm leaning Falcons. I'm going 21-20. I think it's, a very close game. Atlanta's favored by 2.5. Now the game is in Atlanta, so I think that's why the spread is leaning towards the Falcons. Because I think if it was in Washington, it could very easily be like -2 to Washington as well. So I can see the similarities in the teams. I can see, like how this is kind of a toss-up, but I think the inefficiencies of the Commanders defense versus what can be if Ritter shows up, an explosive offense with Bijan, who's been making stuff work all year. Drake London, when he's targeted, always makes stuff happen. And then Kyle Pitts showed up last week. And I am forgetting his name, but the tight end that
Logan Thomas?
No, the tight end that you guys had, Jonnu Smith. He's actually played very well for the Falcons this year as well. So I think that there's just more weapons, more pieces for the Falcons to work with against a bad defense. And then also the Commanders have a lot of guys on IR. So I think I feel safe for going with the Falcons.
All right. This is a great matchup here. Now, I wish this was hopefully it's on national television. I'm not sure if this will be. The Seahawks versus the Bengals. Now, Bengals won against Arizona, which I don't know why in the world you pick Arizona and beat them Bengals. That just won't go happen. Like you said, we're all wrong sometimes, but I was just like Arizona. But Joe Burrow is healthy. Jamar Chase is Jamar Chase. 7-Eleven. Go to 7-Eleven, get your next big goal, because that's where Jamar Chase is at, all right? The defense has been very solid. The defense got a pick six last week, so the defense has always been, not top-notch great, but it's been consistent over the last 2 seasons. The Seahawks now, Geno Smith. I mean, nobody expected Geno Smith to take over and actually make the playoffs last year. Nobody picked the Seahawks to make the playoffs. They made it. Even though they lost to the 49ers, they made the playoffs. Seahawks are 3-1. DK Metcalf, Kenneth Walker III, Jackson Smith-Njigba. I mean, Noah Fant. They still got the guys. The Seattle defense, I know it's I can't say it's good yet because they played the Giants. I can't say it's top-notch lockdown defense because they played the Giants. And they gave them, 31 points to a good offense in the Lions. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take the upset. I'm taking the Seattle Seahawks to beat the Bengals. Now, Bengals offensive line does have a little bit of issues that is not the same. Joe Burrow has been getting hit a lot this season, or mid to tier is getting hit. I'm confident in the Seattle defense causing some havoc, but the Seattle Seahawks have a great running game as well with Kenneth Walker III. And when it comes down to run game, the Seattle Seahawks have a better run game than the Bengals do right now. And with matchup defensive-wise, they have a great defense. But who the hell is going to guard DK Metcalf one-on-one, Jackson Smith-Njigba, and Noah Fant? So I'm going to take the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, I'm going to go Bengals here just because I trust that offense more. I'm completely with you when it comes to who's going to guard those really good receivers. But the Bengals have a much better pass defense than the Seahawks do. So the Seahawks allow the 3rd most passing yards per game in the league, whereas the Bengals are allowing, I think, the 10th. So, very different when it comes to defense. And I get it. I'm with you. Like you said, they played the Giants. They played phenomenal, but they played the Giants. So I'm not. Yeah,
that's why I'm saying they're not good. They played the Giants.
Yeah, I'm not getting too excited about. Yeah, I'm not getting too excited about that defense. I watched week 1. I mean, everyone watched, I'm sure, week 1. Dallas's defense obliterated the Giants offense, and then we went out and laid an egg against San Fran. So it doesn't mean that you're the best defense in the league just because you go off against the Giants. And I'm saying that as a hurt Cowboys fan. So, I think it's just which offense am I trusting more against that defense. Same thing as I said in the last game. And I trust Joe against the secondary of the Seattle Seahawks a little bit more than I trust Geno against a pretty good secondary in Cincinnati.
All right. Next game, Jags versus the Colts. All right. They turn to Gardner Minshew, the guy you've been raving about. Jacksonville Jaguars have came back and won. Now, they got blown out by the Texans earlier this year. This is a great matchup for both quarterbacks. Now, Jacksonville is at home. My question and my concern is, will the Colts keep this momentum going forward? Now, this might take me about a good 8 minutes to really think of this, because this is not an easy pick. This is probably one of the hardest picks that I actually have in this. It's a pretty hard pick. Now, it's actually not a hard pick because I'm going to go ahead and looking at this, I'm going to go ahead and take the Jags to win this game. I am confident it's a home game. Jacksonville has the offense going. The defense did great against the Buffalo Bills. We've been raving about the Buffalo Bills offense. It did great. The score was 11-7. I mean, you held one of the top-notch offenses in Josh Allen to 7 points by the 4th quarter. So I think Jacksonville is back on their swag. It'll be a close game. I'll give you 24-21, but Trevor Lawrence is a better quarterback than Gardner Minshew.
I hear you, and I've got the same exact score, actually, 24-21. But I've got it for the Colts. Give me Gardner Minshew coming up clutch again. This is my dude. This is my I'm getting too excited knocking stuff off my desk. This is my guy. I'm telling you, Gardner, I know he's not, the best, like the second coming of Jesus or whatever, but that mustache and that hair is going to take this team to a dub until AR gets back. And I think it starts or continues in this week's game against the Jags. The line is Jacksonville -4. I've obviously got the Colts winning by 3, 24-21. I think, the teams aren't that different. They already played once this year, and it was not super close, but it was definitely competitive. And I think it was competitive enough that an offense that is reintegrating Jonathan Taylor into it, and a quarterback that's not going to who would I rather have out there, the quarterback of their future, and Anthony Richardson or Gardner? Yeah, give me Anthony Richardson. I think it's, a pretty good idea that one of the most electric young players in the league plays. But given the circumstances, he's not. So who am I comfortable with as a backup most in the entire league? Gardner Minshew, the man that should have a starting job. He is going to get the job done. I believe in it. I think that they'll be able to get all three receivers. Pierce really hasn't shown up this year so far. Pittman's been okay. Josh Downs has been great, rookie out of UNC. And Zach Moss has obviously been a great addition in the backfield as well. They might use him as trade bait at some point, but he's getting the most yards on the offense. So I think you want to keep him involved as well as you reintegrate Jonathan Taylor, who missed all of offseason and obviously all of up to last week. Give me the Colts.
Next game, Carolina versus Miami. Now, Carolina's 0-5. They're, I think, the only team in the NFL that has not won a game. Miami Dolphins are 4-1. It's not really too much to talk about. The Miami Dolphins are a better team. Miami Dolphins do have 2 running backs that did go down, so hopefully Raheem Moisture gives me points for my fantasy. But Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Tua Tagovailoa, Tua turned the ball over. It's a really great nickname. I said that last year on Totem Pole when he turned the ball over 3 times against the Green Bay Packers on Christmas Day. Tua turned the ball over. Now, Tua's a great quarterback, but the Carolina Panthers have a lot of problems. They're in first-year head coach Frank Wright, who got fired from the Colts last season. Bryce Young he didn't play for 1 week, and he's coming off injury. He's now coming back. The Panthers are struggling in all phases of football. The defense, the offensive line, they're completely broken down. They're at Miami. It is the NFL. I'm going to pick the Dolphins, but it's 1% likely they're going to beat them unless Miami just underestimates them and just I don't know. Either underestimates them or just gives them the game. So I'm going with the Dolphins.
Or they leave their cleats on the plane or something like I don't know how. I think they're going to roll them. I've got it 31-14-ish. And maybe the Panthers score a little bit more than that. It's not like the Dolphins have a great defense, but I don't think this game is very competitive. I agree. There's not really much to talk about. I think this is just one of the blowouts of the week.
Next game, Vikings versus the Bears. Both teams at 1-4. This is almost a toss-up as well. Well, not really. Bears won the first game of the week. They do have a shot at getting back-to-back wins, but Justin Jefferson is placed on IR for 4 weeks. So I got the Vikings winning. I just don't know how they're going to win. The Bears, they suck. The defense is still horrible. Justin Fields can get the job done, but the Vikings defense is bad. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Bears win if DJ Moore pulls out a great game he did last week. Especially you give away Chase Claypool, who was really no addition. I'm going to be safe and go with the Vikings to win this one. But without Justin Jefferson, it's going to be pretty tough. And I want to switch my pick, but I'm not going to do it because I'm just not sold on the Bears in all 3 phases of football.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going Vikings as well. And to your point, the spread is only -3. So the books are thinking this game is going to be close as well. I've got the Vikings winning by 7. I think it's 28-21. And I know that JJ's on IR. But KJ Osborne and Jordan Addison are both good receivers that can get open. And then you also have TJ Hawkinson, who's one of the best tight ends in the league when it comes to receiving. So I definitely still have faith in the offense. The run game is obviously still bad. I'm not making excuses for them. Maybe they get Cam Akers a little bit more involved with Madison, but neither one of them are true running back ones, in my opinion. I know Cam had his little stint of being good, but I think that went away quicker than it was here. The Vikings defense, like you said, is suspect. They're in the bottom third of teams when it comes to points allowed, and their run defense is 13th, so a little bit better than average. You go to the other side of the ball, the Bears defense is third worst in points allowed, second worst in passing yards allowed, and 12th run defense, so one spot better than the Vikings. The issue is, The issue is the Bears' strong suit on defense is run defense, and they're playing a team that doesn't run the ball. So they're playing a team that airs the ball out. Kirk has, I think he's top 3 in passing yards. Obviously, a lot of it was to JJ, but they do have capable receivers to fill those roles. And I just trust him more against, literally the second worst pass defense in the league to just air it out and get the job done.
All right. This is an easy one. Now, don't underestimate this team. Say 49ers versus the Browns. Don't underestimate the Browns. I got the 49ers winning, obviously, because, they're the best team in the NFL. Now they're on the road against Cleveland. But don't underestimate Cleveland because they beat some teams we didn't expect them to beat. They beat the Bengals the first game of the year, which nobody expected that to happen. Now, I give them maybe a 30% chance to beat the 49ers, but the Browns are coming off a bye week as well. But the 49ers are a better team. Brock Purdy's Brock Purdy. The Browns' defense is consistently good. Deshaun Watson's just not the answer. So if Deshaun Watson plays a great game against a great 49ers defense, all respect to him. This is going to be a close game. I'm not going to call this a blowout just because the Cleveland Browns have home field advantage. They don't have Nick Chubb, which, it's aggravating. They did re-sign Kareem Hunt weeks ago. 49ers win. I think they only win by 10 points.
I have them winning by 25 points.
Wow.
35-10. Well, so Deshaun still isn't, or as of right now, he's not playing. He's listed as questionable, but according to the Pat McAfee show today, I will cite my sources. He is still. The doctors have cleared him, and Stefanski was public in saying, our doctors have said he's good to go. He has not cleared himself. And they referenced, that this is the same guy that played a game with a torn ACL. This is the same guy who has played a game with broken bones before. He's very tough. So if he thought he could go out there and play well enough to help the team, that he would be out there. But as of right now, he's still got that thing in his shoulder. And according to a reporter from the Browns via the Pat McAfee show, he is still not considered the starter as of right now.
Yeah.
DTR, who looked like shit in his first actual game against the defense, I think they're lucky if they scored 10 points.
Yeah, we may have hyped him up too much during the preseason, but like I said, in the regular season, the preseason are two different things. Saints versus the Texans. All right, Saints blew out my Patriots. I don't think they're 34 points better, but they did. It's what it is. What it is. The Texans that came off a loss in the final minute. I want to take the Texans at home, but the Saints have a better defense, so I'm going to take the Saints. Derek Carr, still has that AC joint in his non-throwing shoulder, but Alvin Kamara did what he did against the Patriots. Chris Olave, Michael Thomas. Saints win. I give you 20-14.
Yeah, I really wanted to go with the Texans as well, but I also picked the Saints, and I picked it at a similar score, 20-17. I think this will be a very similar loss to how they had it last week. I don't know if it'll be as time expires, but I do think that they'll be at like a 17-17 stalemate for a little bit, and the Saints knocking a field goal to get the win at some point in the fourth quarter. But like I have so much faith in CJ just from what we've seen so far this year, but the Saints defense is legit. I don't want to bury your Patriots or anything, but like last week wasn't the true test, I don't think, of seeing whether or not they were a really good defense, just because the offense of the Patriots hasn't looked good regardless of who they've played. So I'm not stressing too hard on this last week's performance, but just throughout the year, the Saints defense has been very solid, and I just trust the defense more than the rookie quarterback. I want to trust CJ more. I really do. And I think if this was like week 8 or something and he had played to that level through week 8, I would pick the Texans here, but we're in week 6, so I'm taking the Saints.
I'm not worried about you burying my Patriots. It is what it is. We suck. We suck. Next game, Patriots versus the Raiders. Now, we should have beat them last year. I could go on and on about what Jacoby Myers did. Why we didn't re-sign him? Because of the shit he did last year. Throw that bitch backwards and Mac. Did you really think Mac Jones could tackle Chandler Jones? Hell the fuck no, we couldn't tackle that man. I hope that does not happen again, because if it does, I'm not watching the Patriots ever again for the rest of the season. Now, the Raiders came off a win. They barely beat the Packers, despite Jordan Love's 3 interceptions. They don't have it clicking on offense. They have Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams. They don't have it clicking on offense like they're supposed to. And they're in the second year. And reports back then, reports weeks ago, Josh Jacobs and Devontae Adams, after they lost the week before, Monday night, they're impatient. They don't want to wait any longer. They're 2-3. Patriots are 1-4. Y'all ask too many questions. Oh, is Mac Jones going to start? He give us the best chance to win, even though he's been hot shit garbage. Bailey Zappi don't give us a chance to go to the playoffs. Malik Cunningham's a rookie. We got Will Greer, but we're not really using him right now. So Patriots, I think, I'm very confident they'll make adjustments. I don't remember the last time the Patriots were ever 1-5. So I don't think Patriots are going 1-5. I'm going to take my Patriots, but I'm not going to say it with confidence because Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels really know each other. So it will be a close game like it was last year. Just please don't do the lateral behind the backwards. If it's a tie game, go to overtime. Just do that. But I'm still rocking with my Patriots all the way.
Yeah, I feel you there. I'm going with the Raiders. Here's why I'm going with the Raiders. So I'm not comparing the offenses of Vegas and Miami at all. That's not what I'm doing. But I am going to take into account that y'all's run defense is very suspect. And now that you've lost Gonzalez as well, and the run defense was suspect before Judon was gone. And now Judon's gone. I think it makes it even more suspect. Then you lose your number one corner. I just think it makes it too difficult to target and like one set. Bill really likes to, this is talked about a lot. Bill likes to focus on like one big focal point of your offense, and he just takes it away. He takes it away. And it's what he's like when coaches talk about him on like these ESPN specials or documentaries or whatever, that when they talk about the Patriots, they talk about Bill and his planning. They talk about how he's able to take away your best guy. So even if they can do that in Devontae, you still have Josh Jacobs, who I understand has started the season slow, but Josh Jacobs, who led the league in rushing last year, going against a very poor run defense as we've seen so far. So I think, and then that still leaves Jacoby Myers, who has been obviously worlds better on the Raiders than he was on the Pats. Now, obviously, we talked about it in previous episodes that definitely has stuff to do with circumstance. Like when he's on the Raiders. He's not the number one target. People are focused on Devontae. It gives him more opportunity versus he was the number one target in New England. So I'm not saying that he's a better player now, but he gets more opportunities now, and he's put up better numbers. So I just trust that regardless of who Bill decides to take away, that the defense is just a little too weak, whether it's on just run defense in general or based on injuries. I think the defense is just too weak to withstand the firepower that the Raiders offense can bring. The thing that has me worried is if we get the Raiders team that does bring it, or if a whole different team gets off the bus and they just suck, which could be a possibility as well. So that's the only thing that has me nervous, but I do think the Raiders win.
All right. Arizona versus the Rams. Now, this would be a primetime game if the Arizona Cardinals now 1-4. Rams are 2-3. They came off loss to the best team in the NFL, or second best team in the Eagles. I'm going to take the Rams win this game. I don't think, the defense, they didn't do bad. I think it's just the offensive line and Matthew Stafford really struggled. He took some sacks here and there. He can't move. He's not mobile. The receivers didn't really get open. The run game wasn't really that efficient. I think the Rams' offense is back. They still have defensive problems. Cornerbacks are awful. Like I said, when you get rid of Jalen Ramsey, he goes to the Dolphins. It's very, very difficult. Aaron Donald can't do everything. I'm very suspect, but like I said, this is a rivalry game. They're in the same division. I'm going to take the Rams in a close game, 27-21, just because these teams play each other twice a year.
Yeah, I have it close as well. Mine was 23-17. And it's also the Rams. As much as I admire what the Cardinals have done this year and being able to be a team that was looking like, and I get it, they're 1-4. So I'm not going to, push them too hard, but I think it is impressive that they've been competitive every week pretty much. I understand they got the doors blown off them in the second half by the Niners, but they kept that first half kind of competitive. They obviously beat the Cowboys. They were competitive against both the Giants and the Commanders. So they've looked a lot better than people thought they were going to. And I think that's just the theme of, is a team tanking, yes or no? Well, the organization can be tanking, but you can't tell those players on the field to not go and try and win a football game. So I think they've played above expectations. I think they fall a little bit short on Sunday against the Rams. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Cardinals are a team that throughout the year sprinkle in the biggest upsets of every week, just because they are capable of doing it.
All right. The Eagles versus the Jets. All right. This will be a primetime game if it was Aaron Rodgers. This will be the game to watch. Jalen Hurts versus Aaron Rodgers, if that happened. But no, it's Jalen Hurts versus Zach the Bumfuck Wilson. That's what's going to happen. All right. Now, the Jets are 0-12 in the history against the Eagles. Will they end the drought? No. Maybe. The reason why I say maybe because it's in New York. But the Eagles have the best offense. But the Jets have a very good defense. What's the matchup? Sauce Gardner or A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith? I mean, we'll see. But the Eagles have a great running game. So I don't know what to tell you. I'm going to take the Eagles. I'm very confident in the Eagles. But Jets have no offense. I'm surprised that Nathaniel Hackett has some great play calling against the Broncos, I guess because it's his former team. But I give the Eagles 35-17.
Yeah, I have a similar score in my head. I don't know the exact number, but I'm obviously going Eagles as well. It's unfortunate for the Jets because I think their offense, and this isn't me breaking news or anything, but their offense and Zach can move better in the passing game when Breece and Dalvin are moving in the running game well. And last week we saw Breece go off. But this week they're going against the second best team in the league when it comes to rush defense, and that's the Eagles. They allow 60-something yards a game. So I just don't think this is the week for any Zach Wilson, hype or anything. I think they come back down to earth after 2 good performances by him. I think the stats even themselves out a little bit. I think he has a little bit more of a shaky game, and that's not completely his fault. I think it's because, they're not going to be able to get the run going like they want to, and he's just not as a good enough passer to exploit the lanes that the Eagles' pass defense has given some teams. So, yeah, I just think they're completely outmatched when it comes to what Zach is going to see and what they're going to be able to do versus what Philly can grind out a game against a good defense, which they've done multiple times, and they're playing another good defense in the Jets. I think their offense can grind away and get points, and I just don't know that the Jets offense can do that. So I'm with you. I'm very comfortable taking the Eagles here.
But Zach Wilson bangs local Mills. The next game will be the Giants versus the Bills. The Giants are awful. Daniel Jones, I think, might be out for this game. He has a neck injury that he suffered last game. And Tyrod Taylor is the starting quarterback, possibly for this game. And Josh Allen and the Bills are playing at home. I don't know why this was televised as a Sunday night game, but I guess it's New York or Buffalo and Buffalo. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why it's televised for a Sunday night game. I mean, that's kind of weird. Maybe you could put that on a Monday night game, then you put the Cowboys and Chargers or something. That'd be nice. But like I said about Roger Goodell, I don't make the schedule. Giants have a bunch of injuries. I'm not sure if Saquon's coming back. I mean, they're hurt everywhere. The quarterback's hurt. The running back's hurt. Tyrod Taylor, who's been a backup for a very long time. Now, I can get into it later. If the doctor didn't puncture, his heart incorrectly or whatnot, I think we'll be seeing Tyrod Taylor as a starter with the Chargers and not Justin Herbert. Now, Justin Herbert's been drafted, but I don't think he would have played yet.
No, I'm with you. And I think Tyrod has gotten the most unlucky out of every NFL quarterback in history. I mean, you think about his situation. So obviously he was drafted to the Ravens. He wasn't drafted to replace Joe Flacco. So I'm not including that. But he leads the Bills to the playoffs for the first time in like 20 years or something like that. And then what happens? They develop Josh Allen. So yeah, that's very unfortunate for him. Where does he go? To the Browns, the rebuilding Browns, the Browns that just got Jarvis Landry and OBJ Brown, or not OBJ yet, but those Browns, Miles Garrett on good Greedy Williams before he sucked, they were good. And he has 1.5 shaky games and then hurts his ankle or something. Who comes in? Baker sets the rookie touchdown record. Tyrod gets shipped out of there. He goes to Houston. That the whole Deshaun thing, that's not his fault. He did that after the Chargers where they punctured his lung. He's just been so unlucky. It's not his fault that he's losing a lot of these jobs. And then by the time he was in Houston, it was him, Kyle Allen, and Davis Mills. And at that point he's way older. He's way past his prime. So it's just he's not the quarterback of the future for that team. But if he was there 5 years earlier, instead of wasting time with these teams that were just going to throw him out of windows, I'm with you. Tyrod has had a not unlucky because he's been in the NFL for 13 years, 14 years or whatever at this point, but 12 years, something like that. But very unfortunate considering what could have been.
Yeah, it's unlucky. He was one of my second favorite player in Virginia Tech. Michael Vick, Tyrod Taylor, very, very, very consistent quarterbacks. But it's it for Lambo's with the sports because the game is kickoff right now. We're gonna watch the Broncos and the Chiefs. Right, it's Lambo's with the sports, featuring the Big Brother 50 Sound Sports Network. We will be back on Monday, and we'll be in Blacksburg on Saturday, drinking as much beer as possible. But the game is on, and we got to stay tuned and give y'all the best content in America. So y'all have a great weekend. Y'all chill out. Y'all relax. Tomorrow is Friday the 13th. whatever Halloween stuff you want to do or whatnot. Don't go too crazy. But have a great weekend. We'll catch you on Monday. 11's what